The city of Luminara glowed under the light of three suns, casting long, shifting shadows across the sleek silver towers. Every year the city held the bonding ceremony, a grand event that determined the life mates for all young adults. Humans and aliens alike would stand together in the grand hall, their names called one by one and their matches revealed. It was a tradition celebrated across the Galactic Alliance, a mix of science, ritual, and ancient customs. Kai walked through the bustling streets with a mixture of excitement and anxiety. Today was the day his life would change, though he did not yet know how. Unlike many others, Kai was quiet, thoughtful, and always careful. He preferred books, machines, and quiet observation to crowds and noise. His friends had tried to convince him to be excited, to imagine a perfect mate, but Kai could only shrug. "It will happen," he said simply, "and I will adapt." The hall was enormous. Towering ceilings arched above, shimmering with energy lights that pulsed like heartbeat rhythms. Thousands of beings crowded the space. Humans, aliens of all shapes and sizes, each waiting for their turn. Some chattered nervously, some held hands with friends, and others stared at the glowing platforms where the chosen pairs would stand. Kai found his place among the last group, standing near a railing that overlooked the center. He watched as one by one names were called. Young humans went to stand beside aliens who seemed perfect for them, or at least everyone said they were perfect. Some were calm and serene, others bright and energetic. Some aliens had scales, some had feathers. Some seemed almost human except for their eyes or the way their limbs moved. The hall was alive with color and sound, and then the announcer's voice rang out. "Next, Kai Darnell." Kai froze for a moment. All eyes turned toward him. He stepped forward, heart beating faster. There was a hush in the hall. The platform in front of him shimmered and opened like a door. For a moment, nothing happened, and then from the portal she emerged. Kai's breath caught. She was unlike any being he had ever seen. Her skin was pale, almost glowing under the light, and her eyes shone with a crimson intensity. Her hair flowed like liquid midnight, moving even though there was no wind. Sharp fangs peeked from her lips, just enough to make humans gasp. Her ears were pointed and her movements were graceful, almost predatory. The other humans whispered behind him, some stepping back in fear. Even some aliens looked cautious. Kai blinked, unsure what to say. She stared at him, head tilted slightly, and a faint smile curved her lips. There was something wild in her gaze, something untamed yet intelligent. Her presence was commanding, almost magnetic. The announcer cleared his throat. "Kai, your mate." Nissa of Vera Prime. The hall erupted in murmurs. Vera Prime was a distant world known for its vampire-like species. They were strong, fast, and untamed. Very few humans had ever been bonded with one. Kai swallowed hard. Nissa stepped closer to him. Her movements were smooth, deliberate, and there was a danger in the way she walked, but also a strange elegance. Kai felt a pull, a strange attraction mixed with fear. He extended his hand slowly. Nissa's hand hovered in the air for a moment. Then she placed it in his. Her skin was cold but not unpleasant. Her grip was firm, confident. "Hello, human," she said, her voice melodic but sharp. "I am Nissa," Kai nodded. "I'm Kai." His voice felt small in the vast hall, but Nissa's eyes met his without blinking. The ceremony continued around them, but for Kai, the world had narrowed to just her. He could feel her attention, and strangely he realized he was not afraid, not entirely. Curiosity pushed through the fear. Who was she really? What did it mean to be bonded with a wild vampire woman from Vera Prime? The announcer instructed them to walk together across the platform. As they moved, Kai noticed the subtle movements of her body, like a predator observing its surroundings, calculating every step. But there was also a softness in the way she glanced at him, as if testing, trying to understand him too. By the time they reached the center, the ceremony required them to exchange a simple token of the bond, a glowing crystal that represented their connection. Kai took a deep breath and offered the crystal. Nissa's eyes flickered briefly, then she accepted it, touching it to his hand. The crystal pulsed with a warm light, and Kai felt an unfamiliar warmth spread through him. It was strange, comforting, and exhilarating all at once. The crowd erupted into applause, but Kai barely noticed. Nissa's gaze stayed on him, intense and unreadable. He felt as if she could see through him, into his thoughts, his fears, his very nature. It was intimidating, but also thrilling. After the ceremony, everyone was invited to a grand reception. Humans and aliens mingled, laughed, and celebrated the new bonds. Kai and Nisa walked together, trying to navigate the crowded space. People gave them wary looks, and some even whispered behind their hands. Kai could sense their curiosity and their judgment, but he did not care. Nisa's presence was enough to make him feel alive in a way he had never experienced before. Nisa finally spoke, her voice low, almost a purr. "Do humans always move so cautiously?" Kai chuckled nervously. "I guess some do. I just like to think before I act." She tilted her head, studying him. "Interesting. I like thoughtfulness. But action is important too. You will learn." Kai nodded, unsure what that meant but feeling a spark of excitement. This mate, though wild and unpredictable, was unlike anyone he had ever imagined. And he had a strange feeling that his life was about to become far more dangerous, thrilling, and alive. That night, Kai returned to his quarters, Nisa following silently. He had expected an easy, calm night of reflection. Instead, he found himself awake for hours thinking about her, about the power in her movements, the fire in her eyes, and the mystery of her being. He had never imagined that being chosen could feel like stepping into a storm, yet that was exactly what it felt like. Nisa, sensing his thoughts, finally spoke in the dark. "You fear me, Kai. Maybe a little," Kai admitted. "Good," she said softly, almost teasingly. "Fear keeps you sharp. But remember, I will not harm you. Not unless you threaten me." Kai felt a shiver, but it was not unpleasant. There was honesty in her words and a strange promise of adventure. He realized that Nisa was not just a wild alien vampire. She was a test, a challenge, and perhaps a companion unlike any other. As he lay down, sleep came slowly. Images of distant stars, alien forests, and glowing eyes filled his mind. He understood one thing clearly. His life had changed forever. And somehow, deep down, he knew that being chosen by Nisa would be the greatest adventure of his life. By morning, Kai was awake early. He watched the sunrise over the three suns, feeling anticipation and fear intertwining. He did not know what tomorrow would bring, what challenges would arise, or how he would survive with Nisa by his side. But one thing was certain, he could not turn back. The bond was real. The wild vampire woman was his mate, and together they would step into a universe full of unknown wonders, dangers, and possibilities. Kai took a deep breath, looking toward the horizon. Nisa appeared beside him, silent, radiant, and untamed. Her presence was intimidating yet comforting. He smiled faintly, knowing that life would never be the same again. For Kai, the ordinary world had ended. The adventure with his wild alien vampire mate was just beginning. The morning sun rose over the silver towers of Luminara, painting the city in shades of gold and pink. Kai stood on the balcony of his quarters, looking at the bustling streets below. The city had begun to return to its usual rhythm, but Kai's thoughts were far from ordinary. His mind kept returning to Nisa, the wild vampire woman who had become his mate. Her presence was impossible to ignore, and the memory of her glowing eyes haunted him. Nisa appeared silently at the doorway, her movements graceful and silent, like a shadow moving across the room. "You stare too much," she said softly, her voice melodic yet sharp. Kai turned, startled but not frightened. "I'm just thinking," he replied. "About all of this, about you." Nisa's crimson eyes studied him carefully. "About me?" she asked, a hint of amusement in her tone. "Or about yourself?" Kai paused. "Maybe both," he admitted. "You're different. I've never met anyone like you." She smiled faintly, showing a glimpse of her sharp fangs. "And you are calm, thoughtful, interesting. I think I like that about you." Kai felt a strange warmth at her words, but before he could respond, Nisa turned and walked toward the balcony. "Come, I will show you something." Kai followed her, curious. They stepped onto a hidden platform that overlooked a dense alien forest at the edge of the city. The forest was dark and mysterious, filled with twisting vines, glowing plants, and strange noises that Kai could not identify. "This forest," Nisa began, "is where my people hunt. Not for sport, but for survival. It teaches you strength, skill, and awareness." Kai swallowed nervously. "You hunt here?" Nisa nodded. "Yes, there are creatures in this forest that would kill humans without hesitation. My people live by understanding them, respecting them, and sometimes defeating them." Kai felt a shiver of fear and excitement. The idea of this wild, dangerous world was thrilling, yet terrifying. You want me to come with you? Nissa tilted her head, studying him. I want you to see. To understand me. To see the world as I see it. Kai hesitated, then nodded. Okay, I trust you. The moment he said it, Nissa's expression softened. Good, she said. You will need trust if you are to survive with me. They entered the forest, Nissa moving silently ahead. Kai followed, trying to keep up. The forest was alive with sounds, rustling leaves, strange calls, and the occasional low growl. Shadows shifted in the corner of his eyes, and every step felt like stepping into a different world. Suddenly, a creature leaped from the darkness, a six-legged beast with glowing eyes and sharp claws. Kai froze, unsure what to do, but Nissa acted immediately. She moved with incredible speed, faster than Kai could follow. In a blur, she pinned the creature to the ground, her fangs glowing slightly as she tapped into her power. The beast whimpered and then ran off, leaving the forest silent once more. Kai's heart pounded. That was amazing, he breathed. Nissa turned to him, a faint smile on her lips. Do not be impressed by speed or strength alone. Watch, learn, and think. That is what makes a bond strong. You and we must understand each other completely. Strength alone is not enough. Kai nodded, feeling both awe and a deep sense of responsibility. He realized that being bonded to Nissa was not just about companionship. It was about survival, understanding, and partnership. They continued through the forest. Kai noticed how Nissa's senses seemed perfect. She could hear the smallest movements, see in the darkest shadows, and sense creatures approaching long before they arrived. She moved with purpose, but she also seemed to be testing him, watching how he reacted, gauging his courage and intelligence. After hours of walking, they reached a clearing. A small glowing pond reflected the twin suns of their world. Nissa paused, crouching by the water. This is where my people drink, she explained. Not for pleasure, but for energy. It nourishes the body and sharpens the mind. Kai looked at the water, feeling a strange curiosity. Energy? He asked. Nissa nodded. It is different from what humans drink. It gives you strength, speed, and clarity, but it is not safe for those untrained. Kai understood the warning and did not move closer. Nissa drank gracefully, her eyes closing as she absorbed the energy. When she finished, she turned to him, her gaze soft but intense. You watched and did not rush. That is good. Patience and observation will keep you alive. Kai felt proud but also aware of how much he had to learn. I want to understand, he said quietly. Nissa's smile widened slightly. And you will. But understanding takes time. You must be willing to see the world through my eyes, to walk in my footsteps, and to face dangers you cannot yet imagine. As they rested near the pond, Kai noticed the stars beginning to appear above the forest. They shone brighter here, unpolluted by city lights. He felt a strange sense of calm sitting beside Nissa, the wild alien vampire who had become his mate. But their peace did not last long. From the shadows, another creature emerged, a large armored beast with glowing eyes and jagged claws. Kai froze, remembering Nissa's earlier warning. The creature growled and stepped closer, its gaze fixed on them. Nissa stood slowly, her body tense, ready for action. Stay behind me, she said calmly. Watch, learn. Do not interfere unless I call you. Kai obeyed, heart pounding. The creature lunged at them, and Nissa moved like a shadow, faster than Kai could follow. She dodged, twisted, and landed blows with precision. The creature roared. But Nissa's speed and skill were unmatched. Within moments, she had driven it back, her fangs glowing faintly as she tapped into her energy once more. The beast fled into the forest, leaving Kai shaking but unharmed. You see, Nissa said softly, placing a hand on his shoulder. The world is not safe, but with courage, observation, and trust, you can survive. You must learn these lessons quickly, Kai. Our bond depends on it. Kai nodded, feeling a mixture of fear, awe, and admiration. He realized that Nissa was not just wild and untamed. She was also disciplined, skilled, and deeply intelligent. Being her mate would challenge him in ways he had never imagined. As they walked back toward the city, Kai began to understand the depth of their bond. It was not just a ceremonial pairing. It was a partnership that required courage, patience, and understanding. Nissa had shown him a world beyond human experience, a world filled with danger, beauty, and wonder. That night, Kai returned to his quarters, exhausted but exhilarated. He thought about the forest, the creatures, and the lessons Nissa had shown him. He understood that this was only the beginning. There would be more challenges, more tests, and more adventures. But he felt ready because he was not alone. Nisa was with him, fierce, wild and untamed, yet bound to him as his mate. He lay down, staring at the ceiling, thinking about the days to come. There would be dangers, yes, but there would also be discovery, growth, and a bond unlike any other. Kai realized that being chosen by Nisa was not just a matter of fate. It was an opportunity. Together they could face whatever the galaxy had in store. Outside, Nisa watched from the balcony, her eyes glowing softly in the moonlight. She had tested him today and found something rare: courage, curiosity, and patience. Perhaps this human was stronger than she had expected. Perhaps together they could face even greater challenges. Kai did not know it yet, but his life had truly begun. The wild alien vampire woman was not a danger. She was a teacher, a partner, and soon, something even more profound. And in the quiet of the night he felt a strange excitement, knowing that the adventure with Nisa had only just begun. The forest, the city, the stars, they all awaited them. And Kai knew deep down that he was ready to walk this path no matter how wild it became. The city of Luminara had returned to its usual rhythm, but a strange tension hung in the air. Kai could feel it even before the news arrived. The humans were uneasy, whispering in the streets while aliens moved cautiously, their senses alert to unseen dangers. Kai had spent the morning with Nisa, learning how to navigate the city quietly, observing patterns and testing his awareness. The lessons were small, but he could feel himself changing, thinking faster, noticing more, reacting more quickly. "Something is coming," Nisa said suddenly, her crimson eyes scanning the horizon. She moved with an ease that belied her strength, every movement precise and deliberate. "I can sense it, danger unseen but close." Kai felt a shiver of both fear and excitement. He had grown used to Nisa's warnings, but now they felt urgent. "What kind of danger?" he asked. She shook her head. "I do not know yet, but it is approaching fast. We must be ready." Before Kai could respond, a warning horn echoed across the city. The signal was harsh, resonating through the air and vibrating through the streets. People froze, their faces pale. Kai looked at Nisa. "That doesn't sound good." She nodded, her fangs catching the sunlight briefly. "It isn't. We need to move." The ground shook slightly beneath them and a shadow fell over the city. Kai looked up and saw them. Ships descending from the sky, dark and menacing, their shapes unlike anything he had ever seen. Alien warlords known for attacking unbonded humans and their mates had arrived. Their banners were symbols of conquest, and their presence sent waves of fear through the city. "Everyone get inside," a voice called. Citizens scattered in panic, running to safety. Kai felt Nisa's hand grip his arm. "Stay close. Watch and learn," she said calmly. The warlords' ships touched down in the central plaza, and from them emerged towering figures clad in black armor. Their eyes glowed faintly, scanning the city as if searching for something or someone. Kai's heart raced. He had never been so close to true danger. Nisa stepped forward, her body tense, her gaze fixed on the invaders. "They hunt the unbonded. They will take anyone not paired with a mate. We must protect the humans." Kai swallowed hard, trying to steady his nerves. "What do we do?" "We fight," Nisa said simply. Her eyes flared, glowing brighter, and her fangs gleamed. "And we survive. Together." Kai followed her, moving as quickly as he could, dodging startled civilians. They reached the plaza, where the alien warlords had begun to capture humans, rounding them up with ease. One warlord swung a massive energy weapon, sending a group of humans flying. Kai's heart pounded. He had never fought anyone, let alone being so strong and fast. Nisa moved like a shadow, her movements fluid and terrifyingly fast. She struck with precision, her claws and fangs finding gaps in the warlord's armor. She moved around Kai, shielding him from harm, teaching him without words. Watch their movements. "See the openings. Strike when you can," she instructed. Kai tried to follow, his mind racing. He noticed a pattern. The warlords moved quickly, but they were predictable in their attack sequences. He picked up a fallen energy staff and stepped forward cautiously. When one warlord lunged, Kai sidestepped and jabbed the staff at a weak point in the armor. The warlord staggered, surprised, giving Nisa the opening she needed to strike and incapacitate him. Kai felt a surge of confidence. "I did it," he whispered to himself. Nisa glanced at him briefly, her eyes approving. "Good," she said softly. But stay alert. They are strong and there are more. The battle raged on. Kai and Nissa moved together seamlessly, human ingenuity and vampire instincts combining in a way that surprised even them. Kai learned to anticipate Nissa's moves, to act as her partner rather than just a follower. He blocked attacks, guided civilians to safety, and used strategy to gain advantages. Nissa, in turn, covered him, taught him timing, and trusted him with moments of initiative. Hours seemed to pass in minutes. The plaza became a chaotic battlefield, filled with flashes of light, roaring energy blasts, and the sounds of creatures clashing. Kai felt exhaustion creeping in, but he also felt alive in a way he had never known. Each decision mattered. Each movement could save a life or end one. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the remaining warlords began to retreat. Nissa's speed and strength, combined with Kai's quick thinking, had turned the tide. The city was battered, some buildings damaged, and many citizens were shaken, but the human population remained intact. Kai sank to the ground, panting, his hands trembling. We did it, he said, barely believing it. Nissa crouched beside him, placing a hand on his shoulder. Yes, she said, her voice calm but firm. We did. Together. Kai looked at her, understanding for the first time the depth of their bond. It was not just ceremonial. It was trust, respect, and partnership forged in the heat of battle. Nissa had risked herself to protect him, and he had acted to protect her. They were more than mates in name. They were a team. The citizens began to emerge from their hiding places, cautiously at first, then with gratitude and awe. Whispers spread through the streets about the human and the wild vampire woman who had defended them. Some humans stared at Kai with new respect, realizing that courage was not defined by physical strength alone. It could also be found in cleverness, bravery, and the willingness to act when it mattered most. Nissa stood, brushing herself off. You did well, human, she said, her eyes glowing softly. You fought with courage. That is rare. Kai felt a mix of pride and humility. I had a good teacher, he said quietly. She tilted her head, a faint smile on her lips. We are partners. You must learn as much from me as I must learn from you. Today you proved yourself. But remember, danger is never far. You must continue to grow. Kai nodded, feeling the weight of her words. He understood that being bonded with Nissa was not safe or easy. It was challenging, demanding, and full of surprises. But he also understood that it was extraordinary, a chance to live fully, to test his limits, and to discover strength he never knew he had. That night, Kai and Nissa returned to the safety of their quarters. The city had quieted, though the memory of the battle lingered in every street. Citizens were safe, but the threat of rogue warlords remained. Kai knew that their lives would never be ordinary again. Sitting together, Kai studied Nissa. Why did you bond with me? He asked. There are so many others. Stronger, faster, braver. Nissa's eyes softened. Because you are human, she said simply. Your kind surprises me. You are clever, adaptable, and courageous. Today proved it. I need a mate who can think, who can act, who can survive. You have shown me that. Kai felt a strange warmth in his chest. I'll do my best, he said quietly. Nissa leaned closer, her eyes gleaming in the dim light. I know you will, and I will do the same. Together, we will face whatever comes. As Kai lay down that night, he thought about the events of the day, the battle, the danger, the lessons he had learned. He realized that courage was not the absence of fear, but the choice to act despite it. He had acted and he had survived. And he had done so alongside Nissa, his wild alien vampire mate, who had taught him that partnership was the most powerful force of all. The stars above the city shone brightly, as if acknowledging the bond that had been strengthened that day. Kai felt a deep sense of purpose and belonging. He knew that challenges would continue to come, but he was ready, because he was no longer alone. Nissa would be by his side, wild, fierce, and untamed, yet bound to him in ways that went far beyond ceremony. Together they had faced the first true test of their bond. And Kai knew that whatever dangers the galaxy held, they would face them side by side, human and vampire, cleverness and strength, courage and instinct, united as partners, mates and equals. The night was quiet now, but Kai could feel the pulse of the city, the faint hum of energy, and the silent promise of new adventures. He closed his eyes, feeling the bond with Nissa stronger than ever. Tomorrow the galaxy would test them again. But tonight they had survived, and they had survived together. The morning after the battle, Luminara slowly returned to its normal rhythm. The city was alive with activity again, though whispers still lingered in the streets. Humans spoke cautiously, glancing at Kai as he walked through the markets. Aliens regarded him with new respect, while some humans still whispered in disbelief about the wild vampire woman he had bonded with. Kai moved through the crowd beside Nisa. She was calm, almost serene now, though her eyes still held that intense crimson glow. He had grown accustomed to the weight of her presence, but it still sent a thrill through him every time he noticed it. "Do you ever rest?" Kai asked as they walked. Nisa tilted her head, considering him. "Rest is important, yes. But we must also prepare. Dangers do not wait for the weary." Kai nodded. He had learned that she was always alert, always thinking, always ready. It made him respect her even more, but it also intimidated him. He wondered if he could ever truly understand her. Their first stop was the city's training grounds. Nisa wanted Kai to practice agility, reflexes, and awareness, not just to fight, but to survive in a world full of unknown threats. Humans had never trained like this before, and Kai struggled at first. Every movement seemed awkward, every jump or dodge uncertain. Nisa moved beside him, demonstrating each motion with flawless grace. "Observe," she said. "Do not imitate blindly. Watch, understand, then act." Kai watched carefully, trying to copy her movements. Slowly, awkwardness gave way to understanding. He began to anticipate the way Nisa moved, the way she reacted to the environment, and even the way she thought during training. It was not easy, but he could feel himself improving. After hours of practice, Nisa stopped and leaned against a wall, her breathing calm and controlled. Kai, on the other hand, was sweating, muscles trembling and heart pounding. "You are learning," she said, her eyes softer now. "But there is more to this than strength. You must understand me, and I must understand you." Kai frowned. "How do we do that?" Nisa's eyes gleamed. "By sharing experiences, by facing challenges together, by seeing the world as we each see it. You are human. Your mind is clever. My senses are sharper. Together we can learn to move as one." Kai nodded slowly, realizing the truth in her words. Being bonded to Nisa was not just about survival. It was about understanding, trust, and partnership. But that understanding came with challenges. Over the next days, Nisa took Kai into the alien forest surrounding the city again. Each time she led him deeper into the wild, showing him creatures and plants that humans had never seen. She taught him to move quietly, to sense danger, and to trust his instincts. At first, Kai was clumsy and cautious, but he began to adapt. One evening, as the twin suns set and the forest glowed with bioluminescent plants, Kai noticed Nisa watching him closely. "Why do you study me so much?" he asked. Nisa's eyes softened slightly. "Because you are different. Most humans flee or panic. You watch, you think, you adapt. That is rare. I need to know if you are capable of surviving with me, not just beside me." Kai felt a mix of pride and nervousness. "I want to learn. I want to understand you, even if it's difficult." Nisa's expression shifted, her gaze intense. "Understanding me is never simple. My people are hunters, warriors, and survivors. We value freedom and strength. You must respect that even when it challenges you." Kai nodded, feeling the weight of her words. He realized that being her mate was not about taming her. It was about walking alongside her, learning and growing together. That night, as they rested near a glowing river deep in the forest, Kai asked, "Do you ever feel lonely?" Nisa's gaze softened, and for a moment her wild demeanor faded. "Sometimes. My people are bound to few. Bonds are rare and precious. I did not expect to be paired with a human, yet I feel a strange sense of connection with you." Kai felt his heart warm. "I feel the same. I've never met anyone like you, Nisa. You challenge me, scare me, and excite me in ways I never imagined." Nisa studied him, her eyes unreadable, then allowed a small smile. "Good, that's the beginning. Connection is not always comfort. Sometimes it is challenge. But in challenge, we grow stronger. Together." Their peaceful moment was interrupted by distant cries. Kai's heart raced as Nisa rose immediately, alert. "Something is wrong," she said, moving toward the sound. They found a small group of humans cornered by a pack of glowing forest creatures. The humans panicked, unsure what to do. Nissa moved forward without hesitation, her movements fluid and deadly. Kai followed as best he could, using the skills she had taught him. The creatures lunged, but Kai anticipated their movements and blocked attacks with fallen branches, giving Nissa openings to strike. She moved like lightning, fangs and claws finding their marks with precision. In minutes, the creatures fled, leaving the humans unharmed but trembling. Kai knelt beside a young human girl, helping her to her feet. "Are you okay?" he asked. She nodded, eyes wide with awe. You saved us." Kai glanced at Nissa, who was surveying the area, ensuring no further danger. "We worked together," he said simply. Nissa approached him, her crimson eyes glowing softly. "You are improving, Kai. But remember, understanding me is not just about survival. It is about respect. Watch, listen, and act with thought. That is the path to strength." Kai nodded, realizing that each encounter was a lesson. Nissa was teaching him not just how to survive, but how to think, how to perceive, and how to bond. Not only with her, but with the world around him. The days turned into weeks. Kai and Nissa faced challenges in the forests, in the city, and even in the skies above Luminara. Each encounter tested their abilities, their trust, and their bond. Kai learned to anticipate Nissa's movements, to react without fear, and to trust his own instincts. Nissa, in turn, began to show him moments of vulnerability, glimpses of her past and the reasons for her wild nature. One night, as they rested beneath a sky filled with shimmering stars, Kai asked, "Do you ever wish you could live among humans? To be less wild?" Nissa looked thoughtful, her gaze fixed on the stars. "Sometimes. But my nature cannot be changed. I am who I am, and you must accept me fully, not try to alter me. That is the true test of a bond." Kai reached out, taking her hand gently. "I accept you, Nissa, all of you. Wild, strong, and untamed. I want to learn, and I want to face this world with you." Nissa's eyes softened, and for the first time she leaned closer, resting her head near his shoulder. "Then we are partners, Kai, true partners. And together, we will face anything the galaxy throws at us." Kai smiled faintly, feeling a deep sense of connection. He realized that understanding Nissa was not about changing her. It was about accepting her, learning from her, and growing alongside her. The bond was stronger than ceremony or ritual. It was trust, respect, and the willingness to face the unknown together. As they drifted into a restless sleep beneath the stars, Kai knew that the galaxy held countless dangers, mysteries, and wonders. But with Nissa by his side, he felt ready. The wild alien vampire woman was not just a mate, she was a teacher, a partner, and a force that would challenge him, inspire him, and transform him in ways he could never have imagined. Tomorrow would bring new adventures, new tests, new lessons. But Kai no longer feared the unknown. With Nissa he had found courage, purpose, and a bond that could withstand the wildest challenges of the universe. And in the quiet of the night, as the glowing plants cast soft light around them, Kai understood that this was only the beginning of their journey. A journey of discovery, danger, and the extraordinary bond between a human and a wild alien vampire woman. The city of Luminara glimmered under the three suns, but the peace felt fragile. The memory of the rogue warlord still lingered in Kai's mind. He had faced danger, learned to trust Nissa, and discovered courage he never knew he possessed. But the galaxy was vast, and threats were never truly gone. Kai stood beside Nissa on the balcony of their quarters, watching the city below. She was calm, her crimson eyes reflecting the morning light. He had grown used to her presence, yet each glance from her sent a shiver of both excitement and respect through him. "We have prepared," Nissa said softly, her voice melodic but firm. "But the greatest challenge may not come from outside the city. It may come from what we cannot see, what we cannot anticipate." Kai nodded, understanding the truth in her words. He had learned to think quickly, to anticipate danger, and to trust his instincts, but he knew there were limits to his understanding. Nissa had taught him to observe, to act with thought, and to survive. Yet he sensed that their bond would soon be tested in ways they could not yet imagine. A sudden alarm echoed through the city, more urgent than any before. Kai and Nissa exchanged a glance, and without hesitation, they moved toward the source. The central plaza was alive with chaos. A fleet of unknown ships had appeared above the city, dark and ominous, their energy shields shimmering in the sunlight. From the ships descended creatures unlike any Kai had seen before. They were massive, armored in strange metals with eyes that glowed like molten fire. Their weapons hummed with energy, capable of destroying anything in seconds. The city's defenses were already engaging, but the creatures moved with terrifying precision. Nisa's hand gripped Kai's. "Stay close. Today you will see the true test of our bond." Kai nodded, heart pounding. He had faced danger before, but nothing like this. He felt fear, but it was tempered by the trust he had built with Nisa. Together they would face whatever came. The creatures landed and the battle began. Energy blasts lit the plaza, creating flashes of light and explosions that shook the ground. Civilians ran for cover, but Kai and Nisa moved forward, cutting through the chaos. Nisa's movements were a blur, precise and deadly, while Kai followed as best he could, using every skill he had learned. One creature lunged at Kai, massive claws swinging. He barely dodged, feeling the wind from its attack. Nisa struck from behind, fangs and claws finding a weak point in the armor. The creature roared and fell back, but more were coming. Kai's mind raced. He remembered her lessons: observe, anticipate, act. He moved carefully, blocking attacks with debris, guiding civilians to safety and striking when he saw openings. Nisa covered him, her eyes never leaving the battlefield. Hours passed in what felt like minutes. Kai realized he had become faster, stronger, and more confident. He and Nisa moved as a team, human ingenuity and vampire instincts combining perfectly. Each challenge tested them but also strengthened their bond. At the height of the battle, a massive creature larger than the rest landed in the plaza. Its energy shield flickered and its glowing eyes fixed on them. Kai froze for a moment, realizing the danger. Nisa stepped forward, her body tense, her eyes blazing. "This one is the leader," she said softly. "Stay close. Follow my lead." The creature lunged faster than Kai expected. He dodged instinctively, feeling the lessons Nisa had taught him guiding his movements. Nisa struck first, precise and deadly, but the creature was strong, pushing her back. Kai acted, jabbing with a fallen energy staff at its weak points, creating openings for Nisa to strike again. Together, they moved as one. Kai blocked, struck, and guided, while Nisa attacked with lethal precision. The creature roared, staggering under their combined efforts. Finally, with one final strike, Nisa landed a blow that shattered the creature's armor. It fell, defeated, and the remaining invaders fled in confusion. The plaza was quiet now, save for the sounds of exhausted citizens emerging from their hiding places. Kai sank to the ground, panting, his hands trembling from exhaustion and adrenaline. Nisa crouched beside him, placing a hand on his shoulder. "You did well, Kai," she said softly. "Not just today, but every day since we bonded. You faced danger, learned quickly, and trusted me. That is rare." Kai looked at her, feeling a mixture of pride, relief, and awe. I couldn't have done it without you," he admitted. Nisa's eyes softened, a rare smile touching her lips. "And I could not have done it without you. You are human, yes, but you have grown stronger. Our bond is more than ceremony, it is trust, partnership, and respect." Today we proved it. The citizens gathered, whispering in awe. Many came forward, thanking Kai and Nisa for saving the city. Kai realized that courage was not defined by species or strength alone. It was the willingness to act, to protect, and to stand together when it mattered most. As the sun set over Luminara, painting the sky in shades of gold and crimson, Kai and Nisa stood together on the balcony. The city was safe, at least for now, and the bond they had forged through trials was stronger than ever. Nisa's gaze softened. "You have learned much, human. But remember, growth never ends. The galaxy is vast, full of dangers and wonders. Together we will face them all." Kai nodded. "I am ready. With you, I feel capable, strong, alive." Nisa leaned closer, her crimson eyes reflecting the sunset. "And I feel understood. Accepted. Our bond is rare, Kai. It is not just about survival. It is about connection, trust, growth, and love, if we allow it." Kai felt a warmth in his chest. I am willing. I want that bond. With you, in every way." Nisa's smile widened, and for the first time she reached for him fully, intertwining their fingers. "Then we are complete. Not just mates, but partners in every sense. And nothing, not even the galaxy itself, can break what we have built." That night, under the light of 3 moons, Kai and Nisa stood together, watching the stars. The city below was quiet, the battle won, and the people safe. Kai reflected on the journey, the ceremony that had seemed overwhelming, the training, the challenges in the forest, and the battles they had faced together. Each moment had shaped them, strengthened their bond, and prepared them for whatever lay ahead. Nisa's voice broke the silence. You have grown, Kai, not just in skill, but in understanding. You see the world differently now through both human and Varen eyes. That is the true power of our bond, Kai smiled. And I could not have done it without you. You've taught me courage, patience, and trust. You've shown me the wild side of the galaxy, and the strength I didn't know I had. Nisa's crimson eyes softened, and she rested her head against his shoulder. We are mates, Kai, strong, capable, and untamed. And together we will face the galaxy, not as human and vampire, but as equals, partners, and something more. Kai held her close, feeling the warmth and strength of her presence. He knew that the adventures were far from over, that challenges would continue to arise, and that the galaxy was full of unknowns. But he also knew that he was no longer alone. Nisa was beside him, wild, fierce, untamed, and completely his. For the first time, Kai felt truly complete. The journey that had begun with a simple ceremony had grown into an extraordinary adventure. He had faced danger, learned courage, and discovered the depths of his own potential. But most importantly, he had found a partner who challenged him, inspired him, and accepted him completely. The galaxy stretched before them, full of mystery and wonder. Kai and Nisa would face it together, side by side, bonded not just by ritual, but by trust, courage, and the unbreakable connection of true mates. And as the stars shimmered above Luminara, Kai understood one undeniable truth. Life with Nisa, the wild alien vampire woman, was not only an adventure, it was the greatest journey he would ever take. Together, they were unstoppable,